The biggest crocodile alive today can hit 20 feet and more than a ton of muscle. That's already nightmare fuel. Now, stretch that. Give it another 10, 15 feet. Scale the skull up until it's the length of your entire body. Drop it into a river full of dinosaurs or a swamp the size of a small sea. In this video, we're counting down 5 of the largest prehistoric crocs we know from real fossils, looking at size ranges and estimating just how lethal their home rivers would be for anything that needed a drink. By the end, you'll know which one actually earns the title of Super Croc, and which river in Earth's history is the last place you'd ever want to fall in. When you're talking about animals this historic and this big, deciding who's the largest gets messy fast. We don't have a single perfect skeleton for any of these crocs. What we do have are skulls, bits of spine, armor plates, and a lot of math comparing them to living crocodiles and caimans. Different teams, different methods, different numbers. So for this video, we're keeping it simple. The ranking is based on one thing: estimated maximum length. For a baseline, modern saltwater crocs top out around 6 meters in length and can weigh roughly a ton. That's our starting line. Everything from here on out lives somewhere above that. We start off our list with Mourasuchus, a croc so weird it looks like someone tried to combine an alligator with a pelican. So how big was it? Estimates for Mourasuchus put large adults in the 10 to 12 meter range in some reconstructions, well over 30 feet of crocodilian, though the exact numbers are debated. Even if you take the cautious end of that range, you're still looking at a very large animal, easily in "this should not be in the same water as me" territory. Mourasuchus lived in Miocene South America in broad, slow rivers, floodplains, and swampy lakes across what's now Brazil and Venezuela. Instead of a narrow snout, it had a huge, flat, duck-like head, long jaws that flared out into a wide, lightweight paddle at the front. That skull shape, plus lots of small, weak teeth, points to a very different hunting style. This wasn't a bone-crushing ambush tank. It was probably a gulp feeder, scooping big mouthfuls of water and muck, then straining out fish, invertebrates, and anything bite-sized that happened to be in the way, like a crocodilian baleen whale. Body-wise, it still had the classic croc profile: long tail, armored back, heavy torso. You'd see this thing parked in shallow water, broad head resting on the surface like a bizarre living raft, until it lunged forward and vacuumed half the shallows into its mouth. By maximum length, Mourasuchus takes our number 5 spot. That being said, sharing a swamp with a 10-plus meter duck-skulled croc quietly vacuuming up everything around you is its own special kind of unsettling. Next on the list is Sarcosuchus, often known by its nickname Super Croc. So what was the size of this thing, really? Depending on which study you use, large adults land somewhere between about 9 meters and almost 12 meters long, roughly 30 to nearly 40 feet of crocodilian from snout to tail. Newer reconstructions tend to cluster it closer to the low 30-foot range. For our ranking today, we'll be using those newer estimates, putting the Sarcosuchus in the 33-foot range. Sarcosuchus lived about 110 to 100 million years ago in what's now northern Africa, when the Sahara was a warm, river-laced landscape instead of a desert. Broad, slow rivers and floodplains with fish, turtles, and dinosaurs all sharing the same water. Its snout was long and narrow, packed with around 100 conical teeth, and ended in a strange bulbous expansion at the tip. a bony bump that may have helped with smell, sound, or display. The eyes sat high on the skull, and the body was wrapped in heavy armor plates from head to tail, turning it into a floating bunker. Growth rings in those plates suggest Sarcosuchus kept growing for decades. It probably focused on eating large fish and anything else that got too close to the bank, up to and including mid-sized dinosaurs trying to grab a drink. By maximum length, based on the newer estimates, Sarcosuchus takes our 4th spot. However, if you're looking at older studies that estimate its max length at 40 feet, this fearsome croc could actually be at the number 2 spot on our list.
Next up is a terrifying ancient
Croc named Deinosuchus. This monster was an alligatoroid crocodilian that spent its life lurking at the edges of dinosaur-inhabited coastlines. And its size? Current estimates put large adults in the 8 to 10 meter range, about 26 to 33 feet long and weighing several tons. The biggest known individuals of the western species, Deinosuchus riograndensis, stretch that to around 10.5 meters, roughly 35 feet in length. That's about as long as an average telephone pole. Deinosuchus lived in late Cretaceous North America, roughly 82 to 73 million years ago, along the rivers, tidal flats, and inlets of the western interior seaway. Exactly the kind of muddy, low-visibility water big herbivorous dinosaurs had to drink from. Its skull was wide and deep, like a scaled-up American alligator, with thick, blunt teeth toward the back of the jaws, built for crushing. Bite force estimates land in the multi-ton range, enough to pulverize turtle shells and drive holes through bone. Its back was armored with heavy plates, and growth rings in those suggest it took decades to reach full size, sitting in the same estuaries year after year, getting larger and harder to ignore. By maximum length, Deinosuchus sits on our list at number 3. But if it was you, standing in that murky river, this is already the last animal you'd want to see rising out of the water toward you.
Next on our list
is Rhamphosuchus, a crocodilian so long it could go nose to tail with a semi-trailer. Large adults are estimated at 8 to 11 meters in length, about 26 to 36 feet of reptile from snout to tail. On a riverbank, that's a living, armored log stretching the length of a city bus with teeth on one end. Rhamphosuchus lived in what's now India and Pakistan during the Miocene and Pliocene, in big, lowland river systems and floodplains, wide, muddy channels, shifting sandbars, and deep, slow pools. The kind of water huge mammals had to wade through to cross, and exactly where you'd least want this animal waiting. At a glance, it looked like someone grabbed a crocodile and stretched the front half. A long, narrow snout packed with sharp teeth. Its eyes and nostrils sat high on the head, so almost the entire body could stay hidden below the surface, while just a slim snout and 2 eyes broke the water. By maximum length, Rhamphosuchus pushes ahead of Deinosuchus on many estimates, making it second place on our list today.
taking the top spot
is Purussaurus, a giant caiman that turned the Miocene Amazon into its personal hunting ground. So how big was it? Most large adults of Purussaurus brasiliensis are estimated somewhere in the 10 to 12 meter range, around 33 to 40 feet long. Some reconstructions push the upper limit even farther, with recent work suggesting it may have reached up to about 13 to 14 meters, roughly 45 feet from snout to tail. You're basically looking at a reptile on the scale of a full-length city bus, built out of muscle, armor, and teeth. Purussaurus lived about 8 to 13 million years ago in what's now the western Amazon basin: Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, Panama. Back then, this wasn't a single narrow river, but a huge wetland and lake system called the Pebus Megawetland. Wide, slow channels, swampy backwaters, and inland seas stitched together. Perfect territory for an ambush predator that didn't need to leave the water to own the food chain. Its skull was massive and boxy, roughly human-sized or bigger just from snout to the back of the head, with big, slightly backward curved teeth around 5 centimeters long. Bite force estimates land in the multi-metric ton range, enough to crush giant turtle shells, snap limbs, and hold on to whatever it clamped down on. All the sensory gear, eyes, ears, nostrils, sat high on the skull so it could lurk almost completely submerged, watching the surface. This wasn't a picky eater. Based on the animals that lived alongside it, Purussaurus could have gone after giant turtles, other crocodilians like Mourasuchus, large rodents, sloths, river dolphins, and pretty much any big vertebrate that strayed into the water. Big body, big bite, big wetland full of targets. This absolutely massive croc sits at the top of our list. If you had to pick one place in Earth's history where you absolutely do not want to fall into the water, a Miocene Amazon wetland with this thing in it is a very solid choice to avoid.
On length alone, Deinosuchus, Rhamphosuchus, Mourasuchus, Sarcosuchus, and Purussaurus all end up in the same rough neighborhood. Animals that mirror the length of buses and telephone poles. Some were bone-crushing ambush tanks. Some were long-snouted river hunters. Some were flat-skulled vacuum cleaners for entire swamps. But they all did the same basic job: turn the line between land and water into a place you really shouldn't stand for long. If you like this and want more of Earth's overpowered creatures, check out our deep dives on Titanoboa and Leviathan, a giant snake that needed a hotter world to exist at all, and a whale that hunted other whales. If you want more history and biology breakdowns of the biggest, strangest things this planet has tried to build, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which prehistoric monster you want to learn about next.